How you doing, everyone? I'm Lee Canolawoye, and today I wanted to have a conversation with Black tech professionals and with companies, right? Tech companies. It's been a difficult few days for Black professionals. Frankly, it's been a difficult few months. It's been difficult because not only are we fighting the war of this virus, COVID, but we're also fighting this virus of racism, inequality, systemic racism, and privilege, unearned privilege. And with the hundreds of Black tech professionals that I've spoken to over the last few days, I'm feeling the weight of the community. I don't hold, as it's not mine to hold, I know, but as a Black man myself, I feel it. I feel it because these professionals may not be the ones that are on the picket lines. They may not. Some are. But these professionals may not be in under picket lines and having, space to even vent. They're holding it by themselves with their families in their homes, isolated. And they're thinking about, even in their pain, what can I do? I want to tell you a few stories. There's a senior Black executive woman. And not only is she leading a global team, but she has to still deal with, white colleagues that are calling her the N-word in tech. Another man, he's in Chicago. His work, his 9-to-5 work, crushes it and does well. He's in sales. But he's gotten to a place in his career that he's taken a pause to look and say, now what? If my life every day is still at risk. Another Black man in Atlanta that I spoke to, he does front end development. And he spoke to me about his hurt, that he came to North America for a better life. And yes, he's making great money, but he can't fully enjoy the lifestyle because, where he lives may not enable him to take out his 7-year-old daughter. That he cannot be himself fully. Now, to our allies, imagine that. This Monday morning, they're walking into the office, the virtual office, with that on their shoulders, with all of that on their shoulders, with a weekend full of, protests. And although they may not be part of that protest, they are isolated, they are feeling vulnerable because the issue still impacts them in a real way. And they are hurting. We are hurting. And this is what I'm seeing in the privileged position that I am in, that allies are beginning to have conversations. But I want to really ask you to be mindful of a few things. First, I'm seeing more and more, companies are putting out statements of condolences, of solidarity, and I think those things are amazing. And I want to say this, though. If you are putting out investments and you've not paused to invest in your staff, you're not doing it right. If you put out solidarity, messages, and your staff still have the Amy Coopers of the world in-house, you are not doing it right. If staff cannot, get the resource and the support they need in-house to be their best self, you're not doing it right. If you're not creating an environment for Black tech professionals to thrive, you're not doing it right. For any professional to thrive, you're not doing it right. Because it is actually easier to say that cop that put his knee on that Black man is a racist. It's easier to say that. It's harder to say that I was uncomfortable with a Black professional in my work, and and that act was racist. That I didn't give a raise to that Black professional, and that act was racist. Or a overqualified Black professional did 3, 4, 5 interviews, and it was him and another white colleague, and we kept doing interviews to find a reason to hire the white colleague because it just didn't feel like this other person fit. That is racist. That is a racist act. And that racism is pervasive and dangerous. That racism is what we are fighting. That virus is what we are fighting against. When you see what is happening on our streets, when you see, the riots that are going on and the protests, that is the fight that we are fighting, because we feel it every day. We feel it in our boardrooms and in our workplaces every day. And if we do not erase the Amy Coopers of the world that are uncomfortable with our existence, we can never have a truly, truly strong workplace. We can never actually meet our potential as a corporate sector. We can never actually ensure that we're having more Black professionals at their best, meaning that our workplaces can never be truly reformed. The conversation is hard, but we've had these hard conversations on many other fronts, for many other topics. And today I'm asking you to have these conversations around this, around equity, around anti-Black racism, around oppression. I'm asking you to have these conversations today in your meetings and in your boardroom. Because for you to have a truly strong, diverse, inclusive environment that every professional is at their best, that they can crush the work they need to crush, you need to ensure that their lives are not at danger. And there's danger not just out there. I want to pause for a minute to make sure you heard. There are dangers not just out there. Not just with police officers shooting and killing Black people. There's pervasive racism in our boardrooms. And if we do not act on that, if we simply donate, make a statement to and saying that we are, in solidarity of our Black professionals in our workplaces, and we do not deal with the Amy Coopers of the world in our workplaces, then violence is happening in our workplace every single day. And you are a perpetrator of that violence because you are part of it. I'm asking you today to let's rid ourselves of the Amy Coopers of the world in our spaces. I'm asking you today not only to make statements, that is a good first step, but to put actions in place. I'm asking you today, anti-racism education in your corporation. I'm asking you today to ensure that you are not simply checking on a Black professional, say how you are doing, that you've self-reflected and you've figured out what you will do at a systemic level. What you will do, meaning, you will simply check yourself, is not enough. How will you use your position and your company to actually ensure that people are better, that everyone has equal access to prosperity, even the Black professionals working in your space? That is the conversation that BPTN wants to have. That is where we believe change will actually happen. That is where we believe that we can be better. When we begin not just now making statements, not just donating to the cause, but actually checking ourselves and checking the systems that keep this thing in place now in our workplaces today. Because we spend a lot of time there, sometimes more than we spend at home. We are more susceptible to violence in that space, even sometimes more than outside. So I ask you today to do something, to stand with Black professionals.